If you just could briefly describe yourself.
My name is Daniel Garst. I'm early 50-something American. I've lived in Peking since 2006. I came to China because I was offered a job in Henan province. And I lived there for a year before coming up here. I work for a Chinese state-owned enterprise as a trainer. It's not a very difficult job, so I do some work on the side. I'm also a freelance writer. I've published practically 100 articles over the past 4 years in various magazines and papers. I'm also a freelance editor, copy editor. I have a very busy and interesting life here. There's a lot to do.
Other than you being a writer and a journalist and a trainer, do you have any passions or so in life? Like, I understand architecture is one.
Well, I just love walking around this city, going around the streets. I love taking photos of these buildings, writing about different experiences I have here, hiking in the parks and outskirts of Beijing. When I was in California, when I lived there, I did 1,500 miles of backpacking and mountain climbing in the Sierra Nevada mountains. I hope to do more of that when I'm in China. It's difficult to do it in Beijing, but I've been in Yunnan and other places in the country and hope to travel there some more. Going to a new environment can change a person in a lot of ways, and one way it changed me was I got interested in fashion for the first time, and I've written articles about female fashion designers.
Overall, could you maybe just describe Beijing in 3 sentences?
Oh my God, is that possible? It's a city that defies generalization because it's changing all the time and it's so multifaceted. In a sense, it's like Berlin. It's constantly reinventing itself.
Have you experienced, when you came here, culture shock?
Not really. I'd already lived for a year in China. I was in Henan province, which is in the heart of China. Well, Henan is the real China. It's got no Western veneer. It's less developed, very poor. It's the authentic China, and it's got more of the poverty, more of the authentic living conditions, less of the Western glitz and glamour. More history because it's home to 4 of China's 7 ancient capitals, and those all well predate Beijing's advent as a capital. I was glad to live there for 1 year, but I'm glad I'm out. Beijing is a little more difficult to get culture shock. There's a Western veneer here. I mean, for example, Western dining options. There are all sorts of wonderful new restaurants that have opened up. So you can get both the Western dining and you can get wonderful Chinese food. So culture shock wasn't a big problem for me. I'd already kind of gone through.
What is it that you like best about Beijing?
Just the sheer variety of things to do. You can never be bored in this city. I love big cities, and Beijing is a big city certainly, and there's a lot to do here. And you don't need to spend a lot of money.
And what you like least about Beijing?
Yeah, there are problems. Previously I've been really positive about the city, but it does have a lot of problems. The air is one problem. It was getting better for a while before the Olympic Games because they moved all the factories out of the city, including the Shougang steel chemical complex. And it's gotten worse lately. Thousands of cars literally hitting the road every day, and the government will not address the problem with the proper measures like congestion taxes and higher gasoline costs.
When do you miss California or home most?
Probably around this time of the year, and also in March. The window between which it gets cold and they turn the heat on, and the window between which they turn the heat off and it starts to get warm. I do miss the mild climate of California, though I don't miss the summers there. I miss the less expensive food in California, the wine in California. I miss the Sierra Nevada mountains a lot, I have to confess about that. And the California coast, yeah, the environment there is clearly cleaner than here. I don't miss having to drive everywhere, though. Frankly, I never drove again in my life and managed to live in cities where there was good public transportation, and that would be just fine by me.